Doria Marie Thomas, and I'm here to celebrate you with the Clinton Community Action Team. Make some noise one more time for yourselves for being in the room. Right. All right. So, as you know, it's important for our community to get vaccinated. It's important for our community to learn about the importance of COVID-19 and being preventative as we respond to that. But it's also important for us to know our power as young people. Right? They used to say that it's the village that raised a child, but we also know that the children in the village help raise us too. So we're going to have a conversation about vaccinations and saving the community. We have to do it with our young people first. So we are so happy to have you here. So to get us started, we are going to bring up one of our first incredible youth panelists who are going to help us jump right in. Let's give it up for Mr. Jamad Martinez. Now, as y'all may know, we got a lot of experts in the building. We've got physicians, doctors, we've got young people. Let me tell you about Mr. Jamad and the expertise that he has. He is a big student athlete. Any athletes in the house, make some noise. All right? He is a video game fanatic. He will tear you up on 2K, Fortnite, and all the other things. And he is simply just a fun guy to be around. So Jamad, welcome to the panel. We are so happy to have you.
All right, now we can't do this without our ladies, okay? All right, next up, we have our student panelists. Y'all give it up for Najee Baxter. Yes. All right, she is a student at Bard High School, Early College, Newark. She's a very talented singer and dancer. She loves dogs. And sis is absolutely all about her food. She don't leave no crumbs on the plate, y'all. Okay, y'all give it up for Najee Baxter.
All right. Now, speaking of ladies, we have another young queen with us, and her name is the one and only Miss Samaya. Make some noise for Samaya. As she makes her way to the stage, let me tell you a little bit about her. She owns a clothing line, okay? Clothing line. Fashion Nova has nothing on her, right? She owns a nonprofit. She likes creating things. And, oh, let me be clear, she's a baller and a shot caller. Make some more noise for Samaya Baxter.
Yes. All right, listen, we got some doctors, too. We want to make sure we put all the ladies on stage, okay? So, listen, this first doctor we have is medical professional, Dr. Folashade Fari. Come on down, Dr. Folashade. Yes. Okay, so here's some fun facts about Dr. Folashade Fari. As a child, she convinced her brother, because she knew she was going to be a doctor, to put beams in one of her ears, and she convinced him that it would come out the other side. Okay, y'all give it up for Dr. Folashade.
All right. So you know we got balance, yin and yang. So we're going to make some noise for our brother doctors that's in the building too. Next up, we are going to welcome the original young doc medical professional, Dr. Khalil Savari, MD, Pediatric Pulmonology of Rutgers NJMS. Make some noise. Okay, raise the roof.
Dr. Savari.
Now y'all know we Jersey heavy out here, so we're not gonna judge him for being a New Yorker. But we're gonna give him some credit. He has lived and worked in 4 of the 5 boroughs of New York City. He loves pumpkin pie. Potato, we're gonna talk about that later anyway. Because it's spice and not as sweet as other pies, and he still loves dressing up for Halloween. Make some noise for Dr. Savari.
All right, we're going to give it up for our next student panelist. Okay, his name is Bakari Rashidi, senior at Payne Tech. Y'all give it up for Bakari. Listen, Bakari has an interest in automotive technology because he loves to drive. He thinks tattoos are dope. This young brother loves to cook. Y'all better get his number. He loves to cook, and his favorite artist is G Herbo. Come on, for Bakari Rashidi.
And last but certainly not least, we have Dr. Jared, a 4th-year medical student, MD and MPH candidate at Rutgers. Make some noise for Dr. White. And he's
Barry.
okay, representing with the white coat too in the last name. We see what you did there.
Okay.
White coat, okay, we see you. A little bit about Dr. White. He loves anything to do with nature, like hiking and traveling, to the point where he has over 30 houseplants in his house. Okay, so let me tell you, the Arboretums have nothing on Dr. White. He was born on 18th Ave. Okay, I used to live over there, and loves serving the community he was born and raised in. And last but certainly not least, he loves traveling, and he's been to the motherland, y'all. He spent a month in Ethiopia, a month in Nigeria, and a few days in Egypt. This is well-traveled and well-cultured. Make some more noise again for Dr. White.
Woo!
Right.
All right, so clap it up for your pianist.
Woo!
All right, all right, all right. Thank you so much for being here. So right now we're going to get down to brass tacks. We're just going to ask the question. We're going to take an introductory poll, okay, from our audience. And on stage too. Y'all can participate in this part too, okay? How many of you all are vaccinated?
Woo!
Okay. All right, who's got my count? Who's got my count? Okay. All right, clap it up for yourself.
All right, make some noise.
Clap it up for yourself. Excellent. So that is the reason why we're here. We are here talking about vaccinations. And I'm going to go ahead and get Dorian started with our panel discussion. Go ahead, Dor.
Absolutely. So we are going to lead with our young people, right? Because as amazing as we think we are, shout out to me and Radhatha, y'all. Come on, shout out, we out here a little bit.
Okay.
We think we cool.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, right. Okay,
Yeah.
come on, we're going to her. That's what the kids say.
You say that.
Uh-huh.
I tried.
Yeah.
Okay. So we think we're cool, but we also think that our young people are just as awesome, and in fact have something really unique to bring to this space in this conversation. So we're going to start our questions from our young people, who are going to pose them to our doctors around this question of how do we work to improve the rates of vaccination within our community, specifically amongst our students.
The thing about the vaccine is that it can help you sometimes, right? When you get in the car, you put your seatbelt on. Sometimes you get in a car accident, sometimes you don't. Hopefully most of the times you don't. I don't know how many of y'all are learning to drive. I hope you don't get in a car accident. Sometimes you get in a really bad car accident and the seatbelt didn't save you. But most of the times if you get in a car accident and you're wearing a seatbelt, you do all right. The COVID vaccine is not 100%. It's not about being 100%. It's about doing the best that you can at all the times in your life. When you're at a restaurant, when you're at a funeral, when you're at a wedding, when you're at home, right? If you're on the fence about the vaccine, know that the science is strong about getting the vaccine and then it can help save you and your family's life. If you want to get good information about the vaccine, go to the cdc.gov websites, go to Essex County vaccine information websites, talk to your physicians, talk to someone you trust, someone that you know has your best interests at heart. You know, we talked about how sometimes it's social media that you're getting news from, sometimes you're getting it from teachers, but get it from people that you trust. Don't get it from like a talking head on a show that you don't know. Don't get it from someone who might not have your interests at heart, okay? So you have control over your information, just like you have control about a lot of things in your life.
That was so warm and heartfelt. So warm and heartfelt with your bow tie and your socks. Okay, y'all give it up for the warm and heartfelt bow tie with the socks.
Period.
Wonderful. You got car insurance.
Well,
Huh? You better get some COVID insurance.
hey.
Amen. Y'all knew the church was coming. Don't let these thigh highs fool you, okay? All right, go ahead, Dorian.
So we are going to jump to a quick little pop quiz. See what we really thinking up in here. All right, so pop quiz. Does getting a COVID-19 vaccine make you magnetic? Ooh, will it make you magnetic?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
we got a little bit of mix. We got a couple
Wow.
yeses.
Yes.
Got a couple no's.
Yes.
All right.
No.
Drum roll, please.
Brr. Doctors, what say you? Does it make you magnetic?
No.
You sure? Because I'm sticking to Renata right now and this mic.
Each other.
That's not the COVID.
I had that
Oh,
Moderna.
okay. That's just because we sisters. Okay.
I mean, if you were Magneto, then maybe, but if you're not Magneto, no. As an
Gotcha.
X-Men reference, I don't know if everybody gets that.
All right, you heard it here. It does not make you magnetic. All right, clap it up. Oh my goodness. All right, Jamar, you got a good question for the doctors? Right, bring it on.
Says, how's the vaccine like compared to like the flu shot? Like, do you have to get it every year, and does the effects wear off?
One more time. Can you repeat that question?
Say, is the vaccine like the flu shot? Will you have to get it every year, and does the effects wear off?
Per.
So that's a good question because that person is thinking ahead. The answer, so is it like the flu shot? The first part of the question, it's like many vaccines that you've gotten. Most people have gotten vaccines since they were babies. I was saying this earlier to a parent, right? How many people remember when they would go to their doctor's offices and they'll get vaccines when they went? You guys remember that, right? So in terms of being a vaccine, the COVID vaccine is like many of those vaccines. It does what those vaccines were trying to do. Now, we don't know yet if it will be exactly like the flu vaccine in terms of getting it yearly. What we know is that so far, we've needed 2 doses, right? And now booster doses. So I think if we're still thinking about getting vaccinated, let's answer that question of getting the vaccines, the initial 2 doses, the Pfizer and the Moderna, and then the Johnson & Johnson is 1 dose. When we get that, we'll cross that bridge when we get there in terms of if we'll need it yearly. I don't think we know enough to answer that question sincerely, but I would say let's worry about protecting ourselves and our family members now, and then when the yearly question comes, we could deal with that.
Yeah.
So I actually did, in preparation for this, I actually did a little bit of like reading and listening. And one thing that they found out is that the booster shot, I know it created a lot of confusion. Like people were thinking, oh, the vaccine is wearing off. It's not as effective anymore. You need this booster shot. But the booster shot was actually really approved, and it was really meant for and needed for based on the research that was going on. And this is based on tens of thousands of patients in this research. That it was really only needed for people that were 65 and up. For people that were less than 65, it was actually showing that if they were fully vaccinated with mRNA vaccine, like the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine, they actually still had very strong levels of antibodies against the virus and very strong protection against the virus. So it's not so much that this booster is like, okay, your vaccine is wearing off. It actually still shows that it's very strong after you initially got it up to 9 months later in a lot of populations. But for older people, they were showing that there was decreased levels of immunity from the virus. So I think the most important part that was said right there was I think the most important thing is just getting fully vaccinated. Getting fully vaccinated offers you the most amount of protection. And it even was showing protection against, when these variants came out, when the Delta virus came out, it was still showing protection against that. So from what we've seen, very small about this, this new variant, it's still showing protection against that. So I think the most important thing that we can do is vaccinate ourselves, get fully vaccinated. And then, as things come up, as more data comes in, things may change. That's the beautiful thing about science. We incorporate new things, we find out new things, we study new things, we incorporate it into our practice. So things are going to change over time. But the most important thing that we can do right now, and the safest and most effective thing we can do right now, is get fully vaccinated.
I'm glad you brought that up because anyone with a phone has heard of Orion, Omicron, variant that's just got an icebox where its heart used to be, percolating all across the country. So we're glad that you spoke to what that means and with how the booster and all that plays a role. My question is, look, I'm listening to all this, and I'm thinking about anyone who may just still have doubts, and I hear you. I know that the vaccine doesn't make me magnetized to someone else, but it does make you sick, they say, right? That second shot sometimes can knock you out. Can you talk a little bit about why it is that for some people, the actual side effects of the vaccine may feel kind of painful in that moment, and is that something that we should be afraid of? I know for me, my second shot kind of winded me a bit, so I'm just curious.
I was good. You all right? You good, Shannon?
See, you know what?
Okay, I'm just saying. Okay, I'm sorry.
I would-
What? Answer.
So the question is, why do you feel the way you feel after the vaccine, right?
Yeah.
So to recap, COVID is terrible. You lose your sense of smell. You get laid out in bed for, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks. You got fever, vomiting, chills. You lose weight. People in your
Really?
household get
You
sick.
lose weight? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm not
Go
touching
ahead.
that question. You people in your family get sick and exposed, right? Like that's what we're looking at. And when you get the vaccine, you personally might have some arm discomfort. In the studies, the most common complaint was there was arm discomfort. That means your arm was sore. So if you went like this after the first day, it felt sore. And after the second day, it didn't really stay. Usually after the first dose and also on the second dose. More serious stuff that doesn't happen as frequently could be fever or body aches. These are all part of the immune response. So when your body is making these soldiers that are floating in your blood cells, the white blood cells, the guys who are looking out for COVID, it's ramping up everything. So it's ramping up your immune system, it's ramping up the delivery to the tissues. And at the site where we gave you the shot, it's putting all of those soldiers that it's making there. So you're gonna get some arm pain. I did not have arm pain on the second one. I did on the first one. I did a nice arm workout the day before the second one, so I think that's why I did fine. So do an arm workout.
Do we have any young people? So I know a few of you said that you have already been vaccinated. Does somebody want to speak to their experience with the vaccine? Okay, come on over here. Y'all clap it up for, come on over. Hold on. I just want to let y'all know that we do have a COVID compliance officer. Yeah. COVID compliance officer here.
Make some noise.
Yes, and she got the Lysol, okay? So she's going to spray that thing down. Okay, that's enough. All right, okay, now you can ask your question. Okay. Answer the question. How did you feel?
Okay, so when I first got the COVID vaccine, I also had like doubts and stuff because like crazy things that people would say, such as, oh, you're gonna turn into an animal, or you're gonna, all this crazy stuff. So personally, me, like, I was like, I don't think I'm getting this vaccine. But later on down the line, when it came to like things such as like job interviews, if you wanted to get a job, and then also circumstances such as like family for me, because my grandmother she's sick, but it wasn't because of like corona, it was other things before that. So it was like I wasn't just thinking about myself, I was thinking about my family, my siblings, and everybody else. And although some of them still have doubts and some of them haven't got the vaccine, but I feel as though the more we inform ourselves and the more that basically we educate ourselves on things, it'll better benefit us, but also like spread the word. So I feel as though if I continue doing my researches and stuff about the vaccine, I think that eventually push my family to, do it, because my grandmother is sick, and they think that, oh yeah, just because I got the vaccine, like, I know that, I'm not saying that I can't get COVID, because there's been some circumstances when I would say I was falsely accused of having COVID, because the next day I took it was negative. So, but technically I feel as though the vaccine, as you guys said, is not 100% like curable. It's not going to cure you, but you're at a safer, position than the ones that don't. And I feel as though the ones that saying, oh, I don't want to take that, or just crazy things, it's like, think about it like realistically, or if your family was in that position and they got sick or something, you would me personally, I feel as though it will kind of guilt trip me, because if I felt as though I can fix something or do something at that moment in order to change it, then why not? Or at least just give it a try.
Come on, daughter. Yes. Clap it up. Thank you for that insightful answer. But I still need to know how you felt. Go.
Okay, so the first time I took it, I don't know, because I'm naturally athletic. I did cheerleading and stuff like that. So like, to me personally, I took it like a beast. So it was like, it was nothing to me. So I feel like I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
She's good. Yeah. She wins. Y'all okay? Okay, y'all clap it up for sis. Thank you for that. Clap it up.
Have to make some
excellent
room in this little couch. Okay, we got a future panelist.
Yes, indeed. See, Thank you, my sister. Y'all give it up for the CCO. Y'all give it up for the CCO.
Yeah!
Come on, my CCO. Come on, quickly. Quickly. Yes! You better spray it front. Woo, goodness. Yeah, girl. Okay, all right. So I do know that Dr. Darius has yet to ask our young people his question regarding COVID vaccines. So Dr. Darius, take it away for our panel.
Hello. Oh, okay, this is on. I would just want to know what are some of the things that really come to your mind that is like that barrier that's keeping you from getting vaccinated, or what is like your biggest fear when it comes to the vaccine?
I don't want to come off as like seem like selfish or anything, but I feel like it's all could be like circumstantial. I feel like if you're in a position where, like for example, for me, I'm not around any older people, where it's just I'm basically isolated. Even cause in the situation I am, I'm here with a torn ACL, so I'm in bed every day, and so it's like I don't see the personal need to get it, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, if you're in a situation where you're around older people, where so yeah, you should be conscious enough to get it for other people. But at the same time, even when, like, to backtrack a little bit, when I was going into surgery, I feel like I was trying to get, they was trying to push me into getting the vaccine. For like, oh, it's a requirement for me to get surgery. Where like, oh, I have to be vaccinated. Whereas like they're not even educating me as doctors. That's why I'm like, now it's like I don't understand what's, like I said before, I don't understand what's going into my body. So I shouldn't feel like I should be pushed to this ledge to get the vaccine rather than you as the doctor informing me, telling me how it should help me. Then it's like, oh, it'll make sense. But at the same time, I feel like, yeah, it's all circumstantial to me.
Sponsors? Doctors, you want to follow up?
Yeah. So even though if you're isolated, even though you don't have an older person that you may put at risk, remember that children can still get COVID, and a number of children unfortunately have died from COVID. The other thing to remember is that death is not the only horrible outcome from COVID. There are people that didn't die but have what some describe as long COVID. They've had significant impact, and it has impacted their health, and are dealing with complications from COVID. So protecting yourself is also important. I know we talk a lot about older people or sick people, but even you, it's important that we realize that if we can protect you so that you have some immunity, some protection, that's also of benefit.
I would say to that is like, yeah, I understand the whole point of it gives you that, like, I don't want to call it a blanket, but that's some sort of protection. But at the same time, it's not 100% like guarantee that, oh, just because you got the vaccine doesn't mean you'll get it again. So then now it circles back to, now what if you are vaccinated and now you're around the children and the older people, but you unfortunately get it again? Now it's like, and then what?
So I think something that's really important is that we got to understand, like, we want life to continue back to normal, right? We want to be able to socialize. We want to be able to spend time with our families. We want to be able to go back outside and do the things that we enjoy. We want to do it safely, right? So we don't want you to be isolated. I don't want you sitting in your room by yourself, not being around your family, not being around your loved ones. It's the holidays. But we also want you to be able to do that and do it as safe as possible. And so that's why, I'm a proponent for I want you to get vaccinated, because that way you can go back to doing the things that you can do, but you can do it more safely. Again, we've spoke on this several times. It's not 100%, but it is a big safety protective factor against getting very sick and needing to go to the hospital and dying from COVID. And it also does decrease the chances of you catching that virus and spreading that virus to other people. It protects you against all of these things. The main two things it protects you against is having to go to the hospital and dying from it, but it does still offer a good amount of protection from catching the virus and spreading the virus to other people. So if you take all of that together, it allows us, and if everyone is vaccinated together, you have everyone here decreasing the chances of you spreading that virus, of you getting that virus, of you getting sick from that virus, and of you dying from that virus. And if you multiply that by everyone around you, you, that's how you offer the best protection so that we can get back to life and get back to doing the things that we need to do. You know, I want you to be around your family. I want you to see your family for the holidays. I want you to be around your friends. I want you to be able to do that safely and effectively. And that's why I think it's important that we like think of it from that perspective.
Be what I wanna be. See past the situation that's in front of me. Doubt is an enemy. That we say the irony is they
Yo, who that right there? Hey, yo, show there, come here, we highlight you for a second.
You vaccinated? Because I don't give people a shot that don't have a shot.
Okay, all right, let's talk it out. We are back to nothing but the vax. Nothing but the vax. Now, Adorian and I, we were, having a conversation and trying to figure out whose side is the best, okay? So my side over there, yes, y'all clap it up over there on my side. Thank you. My side's over there.
I mean, that was cute, but
what you got?
it's really my side that's like that. Make some noise over here. Period. You see what we do. You see what we do.
All right, my
Like
side,
that.
can you see it? Tell me what you are giving. Give me what you are supposed to give. Come on, my side, let's go.
I mean, they say imitation is the best form of flattery. So show them the originals how we do it.
All right. We are all one community, so everybody give it up. And speaking of community, okay, we want to shout out the folks in the audience. It's Newark Opportunity Youth Network in the house. Right, are the Girl Scouts in the house? All right, it's Lead Academy in the house. All right, Bard, where you at, Bard? Okay, all right, clap it up for yourself.
Wait, hold on, because what we not gonna do.
Who else?
Respectfully. She wins y'all in the building. Okay. Respectfully.
She wins. Y'all clap it up. She wins.
It's for right now that you're in this recovery state, but in a couple months you're going to be going to physical therapy 2-3 times a week, right? You're not going to be isolated anymore. Getting the shot today doesn't mean that you're going to be good today. You still have to wait that 3 weeks or 1 month, depending on which one you get, to get the second one, and then you'll be 2 weeks out from that before you're the best protection, right? You're in school right now. You might not have a job. Like we mentioned, to get a job, to go to church, to be out in a house party, to be in any close location with other friends, the best thing that you can do is to have the vaccine so that you can not be at risk for yourself. The other part that's really important is that to be in school, if school closes because of COVID exposure, the person who's not going to be that worried is going to be the person who's vaccinated. If you had someone who was right next to you who had COVID, then you're going to be worried for the next 5 days, do I have COVID? What's going to happen to me, right? If you have younger siblings at home, they might have to stay at home when you have COVID. So the kids who have learning disabilities, the kids who need special services, they're the ones who are going to suffer the most from not having the COVID vaccine because they're going to be out of school for longer than it already was. If y'all remember virtual school, it was hard, right? And if you were a kid with special needs during virtual school, it was impossible. And if you were a parent of a kid with special needs, it was heartbreaking, right? All the kids now, we're probably facing many years of hard uphill battles for how much time we've lost and how much education it's gone. And if we're looking at populations of people who are most at risk, it's ours, right? We need to finish school. We need to finish high school. We need to accomplish great big things, right? We can't do that when we're missing school. We can't do that if we're not vaccinated.
And we just want to acknowledge that there are no wrong questions, right? I would dare say, to an extent, there aren't even wrong opinions.
Yeah.
It's about being informed and making decisions. So we appreciate all the dialogue, the information, and even the questions and uncertainty that's come up. We really appreciate that. So we're going to pivot a little bit to our audience. We know you guys have questions too. And we're ready for it all. As you can see, we have a distinguished panel of students and of doctors who are the experts. So we're going to open the floor. But before we do, we have our amazing COVID compliance officer. Make some more noise for our CC Taz up in here.
Yes. All right. If you have a question, please go around the camera in the back and come on up on this side. Please, if you have a question, go around and line on up. And CCO, stand by. They gotta do it again.
I sent her a private to get here.
You know what? I cannot. What is happening? Just hold it. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're not coming back. It's my microphone. CCO?
No.
Yeah, let's try it. All right, how we doing with this mic? Up. Yep, it's good. Just, yeah.
He said not too much.
Not too, yeah, there you go. Okay, here you go.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Such wonderful co-hosts. Can we give them another round of applause, these co-hosts? They're amazing. They are amazing. I don't even have a question. I have a comment. I want to say, first of all, to the young people, I think your questions and answers were very honest. And a lot of times it seems like when we get young people on stage, they feel like they have to perform. And you've just been very honest. I think you're going to speak to a lot of young people who are listening to this, see this live, this broadcast, and you'll inspire them. But to the panelists, this is the first time I've ever been at a COVID, corona, whatever you want to call it, whatever we refer to it as, this kind of conversation, and I felt like you were actually speaking to people. I believe that it's you. You probably don't know it now, but we work with young people in real time. This has probably been one of the most down-to-earth conversations that I've heard for young people. So I just want to thank you for just like your delivery, for your sincerity, for your love of people that comes through in your conversation with with everyone in the audience. It seems like you really care about this community, and so I just want to thank you. And I hope to see you on another stage and in other places really talk, because we need younger people like you carrying a message, because sometimes when people are talking about COVID, it looks like it's coming from people who are not necessarily from the community, and when they're not talking to us but at us, and you're like looking at people like it's everything, like, you know, it's just, I've just really enjoyed listening to you. So thank you for and I've learned a lot of things too tonight, so thank you again for just what you've been offering to this whole conversation.
Hello. One of my questions would be, before getting the vaccine, did you guys have a debate with yourself, or, feel me, were you guys on the fence with yourself about whether or not you should get the vax, despite y'all standings as doctors?
I didn't get the vaccine right away. I was a medical student at the time. I'm still a medical student, but I was in medical school. They had pulled us off of all our rotations, so I was sitting at home, and I had very similar, ideas to what we've talked about before. I was like, I'm isolating, I'm by myself, I'm not exposed to anyone. I need to wait and see what's going on. But I think that one of the, when we talk about that debate that I'm having with myself, it's like, why did I come into medicine? Why did I come into the field of medicine? It's because, I wanted to be an insider for my community. I've seen a lot of my family, I've seen a lot of my friends get mistreated by the medical system. If you read anything about history, you know that our medical system has a lot of things wrong with it, historically, and especially when it comes to young black and minority people. And going into medical school, our teams are about being on the inside so that we could have our voices heard, when we're making these decisions about vaccines or about healthcare or even about treating every single individual patient. That was the whole purpose of me going into this. And I have to trust the science, because it's the same science that I rely on every single day when I'm trying to help my people. It's the exact same science. So I had to trust it, and I had to be someone that stands on it. And I can't sit here and tell my mother, hey, go get vaccinated, or tell my grandmother, hey, go get vaccinated, and I haven't done it myself. So I was definitely debating. I was definitely on the fence, and I think that's a very normal thing to feel, especially as, I'm looking around this room. There's a lot of young black people in this room. I think that's very normal to feel, especially if you know the history of our country. But I will say with confidence that, I got vaccinated. I believe in the science. I believe in the science, and it's the same science that, I rely on every single day to try to help my people. So I had to do it.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you for your question, young man.
So I got like 2 questions. So like, how did COVID-19 first start out? And then my second question is like, how do y'all feel about like the negative and positive comments on Instagram? Like, I used to be like one of the kids, like I said, like when you take the COVID vaccine, you gonna be a zombie and stuff like that. Not for a while, I was making fun of it and all that stuff, like you're gonna be a zombie and all that stuff. But like, how do you feel about it?
19.
Come on, Dr. Fari.
Okay, no problem. So the first question, how did COVID-19 first start? So the coronavirus, if you go to the full name, it's been a virus that Dr. Savari and I see patients get a cold with every year. This particular strain, this particular brand, if you want to use that term, is different. So the coronavirus has been around for a long time. So, but COVID-19, so this family or this species was a new brand. So let me explain something about variants. So think of the code that makes a virus like a beaded necklace. So like in the someone is wearing beads. So position 1 maybe a red bead, and then position 2 a green, and position 3 a yellow. So just keep switching like that. When a virus wants to make a new copy, ideally it looks at that pattern and is supposed to make exactly that same pattern. Now a new variant is essentially when you switch. Instead of a green in position 1, you switch it to a yellow, and then you make a different way. So basically, COVID-19 that came around was a new brand, a new species of the coronavirus that we have seen for years. So that's the first thing about what it is. Exactly where it started and all that can be debated, but just like the last cold you had, you don't know exactly where that virus came from, the common cold virus. So where exactly it started from, I don't think we need to worry about that question. But how and why it's called the COVID-19 is the example I tried to use that beaded necklace to highlight. The second part of the question was negative comments on Instagram about the COVID, is it the virus or the vaccine?
It's like the all in total, like I remember like when it first came out, how people was talking about Instagram, how like they said that the Chinese and the Asians had caused it, and how like someone got bit by a bat, and that's how it started and stuff like that, and just people was throwing negative comments of how like, oh, you're gonna become a zombie and stuff like that. So like you could just say it all.
So that just feeds to the misinformation we've all been talking about. Where a virus was first isolated, it was first isolated in China. Initial reports came from there. Exactly how it happened, there's still many questions about that. I wouldn't want to, that's not the most important thing, exactly where on earth it first started from. What matters most is that viruses have done this for years and centuries, and they continue to do this. The science today rises up to the challenge of quickly finding out there's a new virus. This is what it looks like, and then how are people getting affected, and what do we need to do? So that, I think, being proactive instead of saying exactly where in China, what market, what place, and what bat is not so important as now that it is here, what are we going to do about it? And then the second thing about using social media as a source of medical information, the same way I wouldn't assume that you would allow maybe the person who, your chef, as nice as they are, they cook good meals, be the one who tells you maybe how to style your hair. I'm trying to look for, right? You want to go to someone who's a professional in that field to answer questions related to that field. So I would say make sure you're getting your medical information from someone who is so trained, right? So that you're doing the best for yourself. I'm a physician. I couldn't help you as much as I would like to. I couldn't sort of sew nice outfits that you're wearing. I don't know how to do that. So if I wanted to give you advice on that, you might say, oh no, I'll pass. So that's the same thing. So when you go on Instagram and you see something like that, I think I would bring that to someone who's trained in that field and they could answer it.
I ended up talking anyway. I think the other important thing is that it's kind of like bullying, right? Like when you're afraid of something, when you don't know what's happening, you make fun of, you deflect, you try and turn it around, right? We have no idea where this came from. Let's blame one person. Let's blame one people, right? Those people are not who you're afraid of, what you're worried about, right? You're worried about the impact on your life and on your community. I love zombies, right? It's my favorite mythical creature by far. Forget unicorns. Especially like the Shaun of the Dead zombies. I love them. But it's kind of crazy when you think about like, I don't know where this came from. What can I do to help other people know how concerned I am? Let me make it into the plot of a movie like Contagion. But I didn't make that, right? But there's lots of different ways that you can make worrisome statements that can translate to people who are also worried, and they will take that and run with it. Yeah.
All right, our final audience question. Yes, sir.
My name is Michael Williams. I attend Lee Charter School. I'm gonna keep it real. Y'all some doctors. Y'all study this. Y'all around it every day. You know, this is what y'all. You know, this is your career. My question is, when it first came out, the vaccine, it was optional. You know, you can take it, you may not, and then it turned. You know, you may lose your job. You know, it was hard on families and like people of color. We don't really have a lot. You know what I'm saying? So when it switched to, you know, mandatory or do this and do that, how, like, why did that happen? Can you, like, speak more about that, please?
The switch from please do it to now you're going to have to do it is striking, right? And we kind of talked about that, about incentives, right? We were going to give you $50, or what if you just like contribute to our burial fund, right? We want you to do the best thing. Sometimes people will still not do the best thing even though everything is pointing towards you have to do it. So all you're going to have to do is either help people learn by educating, make a law by enforcing it, or punishing. Those are the three ways that you can get people to do what they have to do. By making it mandatory, it put a lot of people who were not ready to get the vaccine still get it in order to provide food on the table. It puts them in a position where they have to make a choice that they wouldn't have wanted to because COVID is so bad, right? Because it's impacting our lives so much. It is something that I wish that everyone could take all the time they needed in order to get to that point when they're comfortable about it and to have every answer that they needed. But we don't have that flexibility. Every 2 months, every 3 months, a new variant comes, pops up from one place, but really it came from a different place. If we don't act now, if we don't all get vaccinated as soon as possible, more variants will come, more death will occur, more jobs will be lost, more families will be broken. You have to do it as quickly as you can.
Amen.
Spray yourself, CC. Spray yourself.
Oh, Lord, don't do that. Yeah. Respect.
Hi, I'm your CCO. And I have a question. My question is, I have a mother at home, and she is like crazy about this vaccine, how they're going to send a radiation wave. It can kill all of us. They put this thing into us that if they could click one button, we'll all drop dead. What would be something I could tell her to save all of us from COVID?
Wow.
I want to start off by saying that, I'm sorry that you're dealing with it. That's a really tough position to be in, especially, it being your mother. I think that one thing that I always try to bring bring to the table when I'm having conversations with family that are like reluctant to get the COVID vaccine or think that it's something that's really, targeting people and targeting us specifically, is that if you look at the numbers, right, who's the most vaccinated populations in America? Who do y'all think it is? People with access to means, people with higher socioeconomic status, people that make more money and have more things, and also people that are non-minorities. And if you look at the same thing globally, it's the same situation. And I think that shows something, right? That shows that this isn't something like the people in power don't make something to attack themselves, right? And the fact that they're taking it shows that this is something that's really meant to protect us, and it is safe and effective. We've seen the data that shows that. So I think that kind of maybe trying to look at it from that viewpoint, that if this was something that was meant to attack the people in power, why would they be taking it? That's one point. And I don't know. I think maybe another thing is just to try to maybe have your mother have a conversation with somebody that, like you said, that she can trust, because it doesn't seem like she's, I don't know who she's getting her information from, but it doesn't seem like it's coming from good sources.
Thank you. And to Dr. Darius's point, when the COVID vaccine first came out, it was very sparse, right? It was being dropped in specific cities in New Jersey, right? And so folks from other areas were coming down to Newark to get the vaccine, and the lines were long.
Crazy.
So if they want it, then we should want it too. So let's clap it up for that.
Yeah. I know for me, I remember being at Essex County College to get my vaccine. I was like, I've never seen this many non-black people in this building in my entire life. And I'm born and raised in Newark. I've been in ECC for everything, every different Kwanzaa function, right? And everyone who was there didn't really look like those of us in this room, right? And that told me something.
Yeah. So we're going to do a final poll.
Final poll, y'all. So we want to ask you, after this town hall around nothing but the vax, has your opinion at all changed around the vaccine? Yes or no? Has your opinion changed? Just a little bit. All right. So we got some maybes, we got some no's, we got some yeses, a little bit of everything. Clap it up.
Yeah.
For being open. For being open to the experience. That's all we could ask for.
Final thought, Dr. Darius.
And then just real quick, I also think that a lot of things. One thing that I'm often brought up with is we don't know like the long-term effects of like this COVID-19 vaccine. But I think that one thing that's really important to understand is that vaccine like side effects and complications, when they did the trial to make the COVID vaccine approved, they followed everyone that got the vaccine for, I believe it was like 3 months after they got their last dose. And the reason they chose that time period of 3 months after they got their last dose is because historically, whenever you're going to have an adverse effect from something, it's going to happen within that time period. The fact that they didn't see it and that allowed them to say that this vaccine is safe, right? So it's not, long-term effects from a vaccine is not something that really is common. And then on the other side, you have to think about, the long-term effects of COVID. And that's something that we do see a lot of evidence of there being long-term effects of COVID. I actually just read something yesterday that people that had severe COVID that needed to go to the hospital had a much higher chance, I think it was 11 times higher chance of dying within 1 year after being hospitalized for COVID. So there are definitely known side effects of being impacted by the virus, and it's safe, and we don't see any long-term impacts of the COVID-19 vaccine. And I just wanted to put that out there, make sure everybody.
Thank you.
So before we close out, we want to ask one more time from the audience, and if you feel so compelled, you can even come up here and tell us, right? Did your opinion at all change about the vaccine from tonight's conversation? And if so, why? Come for it. Yeah.
No, come on over.
Go ahead. Just make some noise for this brother up here. Thank you, CCO. Here we go.
All right, this work? Yeah. All right. So before I came here, I'm still on edge about it. I'm not gonna lie. But before I came here, I ain't trusted at all whatsoever. You cannot convince me otherwise, I just did not like it. I didn't like the idea of it. It's just, I'm not going to put something in me I don't know about. You know what I'm saying? I don't do research on it. I'm just like, ugh, no, you know? But after hearing what y'all had to say, it's like, you know, I'm taking in all this information. I'm like, you know, they speaking some facts. I might give it a try. I don't know yet, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, it did change my mind a little bit.
All right. Yes. Thank you.
Before coming here, feel me, I like to think of myself as an open-minded person, but saying the vaccine, me being an open-minded person means I think about a lot of things, you feel me? I think about all the positive things that could happen, all the negative things that could happen, you feel me? Sometimes I tend to fall on that pessimistic side sometimes, you feel me? But and I always tell myself I should go online and research, you feel me, the vaccine rates and like succession rates and stuff like that. But I always think to myself, and that's just the website, you feel me? Anybody could put anything online. But you know, me coming here, it actually helped, feel me, talk to people that look like me and people that I know want to see me, you feel me, succeed or at least be alive. And yeah, it did change my mind a little bit. So, and I'm still on the fence a lot, but I am a lot closer to saying yes than no. You feel me?
Hallelujah. Yeah.
And last but not least.
All right, so I came here. I really just came here for the food. I'm not from the law, cause Najee, she was like, you have to out of school, and that's what she's like, it's food. I was like, all right, bet I'm gonna come. So I just asked, is the food good? She was like, it's gonna be good. So I really just came for the food, but I wasn't thinking nothing about COVID. But like before, I was playing around, but like, yeah, I'm not gonna get it. Probably gonna have a seizure or something like that. So like some crazy stuff online, like how they been selling online. But like I'm thinking about it. But my mom, like during that little commercial break because of Mike's, she did say I was gonna get the COVID vaccine during Christmas break. So like, just pray for me.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Jamad.
Yeah, like I was saying, I like to start by saying that this was real, like, informative, where I feel like I learned a lot, but it's the same where, like, you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make it, like, drink the water, you know? So I feel like I gotta just go home, just let it sink in, because now, like I said, it was real informative, and it allowed, like, my mind to think about other perspectives, like how I said, I'm basically isolated, but at the same time, I should be able to enjoy my holidays with other people, and I should be able to go out, or even when I come back from my injury, to play basketball. You know, some people have COVID restrictions where it's like, if you don't have the vaccine, you can't play basketball. So just stuff like that I got to think about. So I feel like, yeah, I should be able to just go home, think about it, do some more research of my own, because I feel like I'm more of a visual learner when I go through myself and really looking at it. So I feel like, yeah, this is something that'll take time, and I hope one day I'll, per se, drink the water and take the vaccine. And
All right. All right, everybody, did you have a good time? All right, thank you to our panelists. Y'all clap it up for our panelists. All right, Dr. Savari, Dr. Darius, Dr. Fari, Jamal, Najee, Recovery, Adoria. Woo! All right, thank y'all for coming. Let's get up and get a little jig. Hey, let's go. Come on.
Mic check, whoa. Like I said, as we get up out them seats, we got them seats, gonna get them legs moving in the spot. All right, let's go. Why now? We in here, let's go. What we tell them? Why now? We in Jersey, let's go. Yeah! Oh, they acting up. Whoa! It was the spin for me. It was that spin. Whoa. Ah. Why not? Let's go all the way to the wall. Oh, he acting up. He acting up. Like I said, once again, shout out to everybody for coming out, you know. Make sure you get vaccinated in the spot. All right, let's go. Since we in the spot, all right, let's go. Ah. Oh, she acting up with this one. Whoa. Since we in the spot, I feel like we should do this little TikTok thing going on. Let's go.
She acting notice she want me to.
Like, we not gonna act brand new in the spot. Y'all know this song right here still. Don't act like that. We're gonna spice it up in here. Why not? We outside, all right? Let's go.